Have you ever wondered what truly happens inside the human body when someone eats 4 eggs every single day? Not what outdated headlines claimed decades ago. Not what fear-driven diet culture repeated endlessly. But what modern science now reveals about one of the most misunderstood foods on the planet, because according to growing nutritional research, eggs may not only be safe for most people, they may actually be one of the most biologically complete foods ever discovered. And what you are about to learn changes far more than cholesterol. It affects energy production, muscle preservation, brain function, hormone balance, eyesight, metabolism, and even how the body repairs itself during aging. Yet despite this, millions of people still avoid eggs because of one fear that has survived for generations: cholesterol. For decades, eggs were portrayed as dangerous. People were told that eating them regularly would clog arteries, damage the heart, and dramatically increase cardiovascular risk. Entire generations grew up believing egg yolks were something to fear, but modern evidence tells a very different story. The original anti-egg panic emerged from flawed nutritional theories developed during the 1960s, when researchers mistakenly assumed dietary cholesterol directly translated into dangerous blood cholesterol levels. Over time, that assumption became deeply embedded in public health messaging despite weak evidence. Today, many nutrition scientists argue that the fear was built on an incomplete understanding of how the body actually regulates cholesterol, because the majority of cholesterol inside the bloodstream is not coming directly from eggs. It is produced internally by the liver, and when dietary cholesterol intake rises moderately, the liver often compensates naturally by reducing its own cholesterol production. This is one reason many modern studies have found that eggs do not create the cardiovascular disaster people once feared. In fact, regular egg consumption has often been associated with increases in HDL, commonly referred to as the good cholesterol. Researchers have also observed that egg consumption may shift LDL particles toward larger, less harmful forms rather than the smaller dense particles more strongly associated with cardiovascular risk. Even triglyceride levels frequently improve when eggs replace highly processed breakfast foods. This completely changes the conversation, because the real metabolic danger may not have been eggs at all. It may have been the ultra-processed carbohydrates, sugary cereals, refined breads, and industrial breakfast products that replaced them during the low-fat dietary movement. And this realization has forced experts to re-examine eggs from an entirely different perspective, not as a threat but as a biological tool. To understand why, we need to examine what an egg actually is. A steak comes from muscle tissue designed for movement. Chicken breast, fish fillets, beef, all are dense structural proteins created to support mobility and physical force. But an egg serves a completely different biological purpose. An egg was designed to create life itself. Inside that shell exists an entire blueprint capable of building a living organism from a single cell. Every nutrient required for development, growth, repair, and survival is strategically packed into one compact structure. This is precisely why egg protein possesses one of the highest biological values ever measured in natural food. Biological value refers to how efficiently the body can absorb and actually use consumed protein. Many protein sources lose efficiency during digestion, but egg protein approaches near perfect utilization. Almost nothing is wasted, and that efficiency has enormous implications for muscle recovery, hormone production, immune function, skin repair, tendon strength, and long-term metabolic health, especially during aging, because after the age of 40, muscle mass naturally begins declining. Recovery slows, metabolism weakens, strength gradually disappears unless the body receives consistent nutritional support. And according to many experts, eggs may provide one of the simplest and most affordable ways to help slow that process dramatically. One of the biggest misconceptions about eggs is that people see them only as a protein source. But biologically, eggs are far more sophisticated than that. They are also an energy system, and this is where the discussion becomes extremely important for people struggling with fatigue, unstable blood sugar, cravings, or poor concentration throughout the day. Most lean protein sources provide structure-building nutrients, but they are not efficient fuel. The body can convert some protein into energy, Yet the process is slower and metabolically expensive. Eggs function differently because the yolk contains natural fats alongside highly usable protein. That combination changes the body's response dramatically instead of producing rapid blood sugar spikes followed by energy crashes. Eggs provide slower, steadier fuel delivery. This is why many people who replace toast or sugary cereal with eggs in the morning report feeling satisfied for 4 to 6 hours instead of becoming hungry again shortly after breakfast. Stable energy often leads to stable appetite. Stable appetite reduces cravings. Reduced cravings lower overeating behavior later in the day. This is one reason eggs appear so frequently in successful weight loss strategies and metabolic health plans around the world. But the real biological shock may be hidden inside the egg white itself, because the egg white is not merely protein. It is nature's defense system before a chick develops. The egg must survive exposure to bacteria and environmental threats. To accomplish this, egg whites contain antimicrobial compounds specifically designed to protect developing life from infection. Inside the egg white are enzymes capable of damaging bacterial walls, proteins that block bacteria from stealing nutrients, and molecules that restrict pathogen survival by limiting access to essential minerals such as iron. This built-in biological armor explains why eggs evolved as one of nature's most self-protective foods. Yet despite this, myths surrounding egg whites continue circulating online. One of the most common claims is that egg whites cause biotin deficiency. Technically, raw egg whites contain compounds capable of binding biotin, also known as vitamin B7. But what most people never hear is the critical detail that changes everything. Cooking destroys that effect for normal cooked egg consumption. The deficiency risk becomes essentially irrelevant. Yet the myth survives because fear spreads faster than scientific nuance. And now we arrive at what many fitness and aging experts consider the true hidden power of eggs: leucine. Leucine is not simply another amino acid. It acts more like a biological switch that signals muscle protein synthesis inside the body. In simple terms, leucine tells the body to begin repairing and rebuilding muscle tissue, and eggs contain exceptionally high levels of it. This becomes critically important after the age of 40 because muscle loss accelerates steadily with aging. Reduced muscle mass weakens metabolism, decreases mobility, lowers strength, and increases the risk of frailty later in life. Many people believe aging automatically means weakness, but according to growing research, preserving muscle may be one of the most powerful predictors of long-term independence and quality of life. Walking becomes easier, balance improves, falls become less likely, recovery remains faster, metabolism stays stronger, and consistent protein intake plays a major role in maintaining all of it. This is why many experts now encourage aging adults to focus not only on losing fat, but also on protecting muscle aggressively. Because extreme dieting without adequate protein can unintentionally accelerate physical decline, eggs offer a rare advantage in this area: highly absorbable protein, strong leucine content, natural fats for energy stability, minimal preparation cost, wide accessibility, and for many adults navigating aging, that combination may become far more valuable than most people realize. But the next benefit hidden inside eggs moves beyond muscles entirely, because according to emerging nutritional science, eggs may also support one of the most important biological maintenance systems operating inside the human body every single day. Deep inside the human body, a silent process operates every second of every day. Most people have never heard of it, yet it influences energy production, brain clarity, detoxification, inflammation, liver health, and even long-term disease risk. That process is called methylation, and according to many health researchers, eggs may be one of the most effective natural foods for supporting it. To understand why this matters, imagine methylation as the body's internal maintenance network. It helps repair damaged DNA, regulate hormones, process toxins, support neurotransmitter production, and maintain healthy cellular communication. When this system functions efficiently, the body tends to operate more smoothly. Energy remains stable, focus sharpens, recovery improves. But when methylation becomes sluggish, The consequences can quietly spread through nearly every major system inside the body: brain fog, low energy, poor concentration, mood instability, increased inflammation, fatty liver risk, reduced detoxification efficiency. And here is what makes the situation even more important. Researchers estimate that a significant percentage of adults may carry genetic variations that weaken methylation performance naturally. Many people live their entire lives without realizing their bodies process these biological tasks less efficiently than normal. This is where eggs become extraordinarily valuable. Eggs provide 3 critical nutrients heavily involved in methylation support: choline, vitamin B12, folate. Together, these nutrients help supply the raw materials required for proper neurological and metabolic function. Choline in particular has become one of the most discussed nutrients in brain health research. The human brain relies on choline to help produce acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter deeply connected to memory, learning, focus, and nervous system communication, and eggs happen to be one of the richest natural dietary sources available. This may explain why so many people report noticeable mental changes after consistently including eggs in their diet. Sharper thinking, better concentration, improved mood stability, more sustained mental energy throughout the day. The body is not merely consuming calories, it is receiving precise biological components needed for communication between cells, hormones, nerves, and the brain itself. And now we arrive at another hidden advantage that almost nobody discusses enough: vision protection. Inside the golden yolk of an egg exist 2 powerful antioxidants called lutein and zeaxanthin. These compounds accumulate directly inside the retina, where they help shield delicate eye tissue from oxidative damage caused by aging, sunlight exposure, and blue light from digital screens. Experts often describe them as internal sunglasses for the eyes, and in a world where millions of people stare at phones, tablets, televisions, and computer screens for hours every day, retinal protection becomes increasingly important over time. Oxidative stress damages sensitive visual tissue gradually and silently, but lutein and zeaxanthin help filter harmful light exposure before it can injure retinal cells extensively. Some studies even suggest these nutrients may support sharper vision in low light conditions and help reduce long-term age-related visual decline for older adults especially. This becomes enormously valuable because protecting eyesight is not simply about convenience. It is deeply connected to independence, mobility, confidence, and quality of life during aging. But eggs continue going even further. The human brain itself is partially built from specialized fats called phospholipids. These compounds help maintain the structural integrity of brain cell membranes and support communication between neurons. Egg yolks contain them naturally, which means eggs may help nourish the brain using some of the exact materials the nervous system depends on most. This is why eggs frequently appear in nutritional strategies for students during exams. Aging adults protecting cognitive health, individuals recovering from neurological stress, and people struggling with mental fatigue or concentration problems. The brain does not simply tolerate eggs. Biologically, it appears to thrive on many of the nutrients they provide, and perhaps most surprisingly of all, most people still underestimate just how nutrient-dense eggs truly are, because hidden inside that shell are several vitamins playing critical roles in bone strength, immune regulation, hormone balance, arterial health, and emotional stability. And once those nutrients are fully understood, the egg begins looking less like an ordinary breakfast food and more like one of nature's most concentrated nutritional systems ever created. One of the greatest nutritional misunderstandings in modern society is that people often judge food only by calories while ignoring nutrient density. And eggs may be one of the clearest examples of this mistake, because hidden inside a single egg are nutrients that influence some of the body's most important survival systems. Vitamin K2 helps direct calcium into bones instead of allowing it to accumulate dangerously inside arteries. Retinol, the true bioavailable form of vitamin A, supports immune defense, skin repair, and cellular health. Vitamin D contributes not only to bone strength, but also to hormone regulation, mood stability, and immune function. And unlike many synthetic supplements, The nutrients inside eggs exist in highly absorbable natural forms the body recognizes efficiently. This is why many nutrition experts argue that eggs are not merely convenient food. They are one of the most concentrated nutritional bargains available in modern diets. But now comes another question people constantly ask: which eggs should you actually buy? The labels inside supermarkets can feel intentionally confusing. Cage-free, organic, pasture-raised, free-range. Each term sounds healthy, yet the actual living conditions behind them vary dramatically. Caged eggs often come from hens kept in extremely limited spaces under higher stress conditions. Cage-free sounds better, but many of these hens still live inside crowded indoor environments with minimal outdoor access. Pasture-raised eggs generally represent the highest quality option because the hens have more space, exposure to natural environments, and often more biologically diverse diets. This frequently results in improved nutrient profiles inside the eggs themselves. Then there is the organic label. Many consumers assume organic automatically means humane or pasture-raised. But technically, organic certification mainly refers to feed quality rather than living conditions. An organic hen may still live in crowded environments depending on farming practices. Ideally, many experts recommend choosing pasture-raised and organic when financially possible. But there is another critical truth often ignored in health conversations: perfection is not required. Even conventional eggs remain dramatically more nutritious than many ultra-processed breakfast foods dominating modern grocery shelves. Sugary cereals, pastries, breakfast bars, and processed snacks often contain enormous amounts of refined carbohydrates while offering far less biological value overall. This means that for many families, regular eggs still represent a far healthier and more affordable nutritional decision than heavily marketed convenience foods. And now we arrive at one final layer. Most people never fully consider nutrient synergy because eggs become even more powerful depending on what they are paired with. Leafy greens such as arugula and spinach contain antioxidants that absorb more effectively when consumed alongside the healthy fats inside egg yolks. Tomatoes provide lycopene, a compound associated with heart and prostate health, and cooking tomatoes with eggs may increase its availability. Black pepper helps improve absorption of beneficial carotenoids. Onions contain sulfur compounds connected to detoxification pathways inside the liver. Even avocado contributes additional fiber and healthy fats that support longer-lasting energy stability. In other words, the body does not experience meals as isolated ingredients, it experiences them as chemical interactions, and when foods work together properly, the biological effect becomes far more powerful than people expect. That may be the most important lesson hidden inside this entire conversation. Eggs are not dangerous nutritional villains as generations were taught to believe. For many people, they may actually be one of the simplest, most affordable, and most effective tools for supporting muscle health, stable energy, cognitive function, vision protection, metabolic balance, and healthy aging. Not because they are magical, but because they deliver an extraordinary concentration of biologically useful nutrients inside one remarkably efficient food. And perhaps after decades of misinformation, modern science is finally beginning to correct the story. The egg was never the enemy. The real danger may have been misunderstanding nutrition itself.